Welcome everybody to part two of explaining lore. I'm gonna try and explain Destiny 2's lore to Nick.
Oh, that looks
Um,
like the icon of sin.
what? You
The
mean?
bottom right
Oh,
is
that.
generally shaped like the icon of sin.
Oh, that's just Orcsy. Don't worry about him.
All right,
Or Orcs.
here we go. So
Basically,
last time, oh, you can go. You
last
can go.
time Nick tried to explain to me how SCP lore works. I took his test and got an 83%. Now I'm gonna try and explain Destiny's lore to Nick. And
Here
we're
we
both
go.
just doing overviews. I will say, Nick, Destiny's lore has a much more complicated overview. Because it can't just be summed up.
Which is
Like,
really saying something about Destiny because, God, that is a weird concept I had to materialize.
the
But I think
fact
it just
the
speaks to
fact
the
that it's
broad.
more complicated than SCP.
Yes, the fact that it's hard, more complicated, is in like a tougher concept, right?
Right. Well,
That is crazy
well, SCP
considering.
has a simple explanation for it. It's just the fact that it straight up it's meant to like be contradictory and you're meant to make your
Because
own
it's
canon
made
for
by,
it.
yeah, because it's made by a top
That
secret
in of
whatever,
itself
and like,
makes it a whole lot less complicated. Destiny 2 has hard canon.
oh yeah, I guess it's the difference between building with Play-Doh and fucking bricks.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is, it's never none of the canon has ever been retconned, only built upon.
Hmm.
So we're gonna get started, and this is very complicated. Right here now, we just got the logo and two factions right here. We got the Fallen and Vex. Over in the top right is Rasputin. We'll get to him towards the end. And in the middle, right here is Orcs, my favorite villain from the game.
You got it.
All right, we're going to get started here. Right here, we have where I'm going to start by explaining how the universe began. And let me tell you, this is where it gets complicated. The whole
Uh,
universe is basically one big chess game taking place in this world called the Black Garden, and it's just a big. Basically, it's an endless plane of just mazes, stone, and flowers.
hmm.
My God, Joey just keeps fucking
the
messaging.
the god of this universe, basically the good god of this universe, is literally. Oh well, here's a just another picture of it. This is a place you can go to, by the way. This is where the final boss was of the first campaign was, and you can just we hold regular like training sessions in this area, but it's
Okay.
like endless, so it's in a specific part.
Mhm.
And also, if you go there and go off in a random direction, you will go crazy with madness and become bloodthirsty and violent.
Okay.
But the god of this universe is literally the good version is literally a white ball that just
Okay.
floats over Earth. What this thing does basically is goes from planet to planet, terraforming it to be its best version, and then the creatures that live there use it to build up their civilization and become better.
Hmm.
Now the devil are black triangles.
Okay.
Feel free to ask as many questions as you want, by the way, because this
So, do they travel to different planets and alter them?
yes, kind of.
In
But
the opposite way, where they're reverting
yes,
it to
by
primitive?
alter I mean eradicate, completely destroy.
Okay, so it's not enhance, and then like there's not like the white ball enhances, and then the black triangles like deteriorate it. It's like
They will
the
flat
white
out
ball
destroy them.
enhances it, and the black triangles
Now
destroy it.
let me throw a curveball in
Okay.
here. These black triangles aren't the actual devil. This dude is. This
And
guy.
there's no person behind the ball. There's just a person behind the triangles.
Well, that we don't know that yet. There might be someone chilling in this ball. I like to think that there is.
Okay.
But all we know the ball is right now is the ball. The white ball is the traveler. This
Okay.
dude, his name is the witness,
Hmm.
and then every single black triangle holds a powerful creature that's piloting it like a ship, but
Hmm.
still kind of has the same like crazy transforming powers or whatever.
Okay.
But they are all called the witness's disciples. And
Hmm.
as you can see in this image, there are thousands to millions of them.
Okay.
Now, the whole entire galaxy is basically a chess game between these two.
Okay. So they are direct opposition. It's not like they're just out here doing opposite things. It's like
Yeah, no.
they are in
Literally,
direct opposition to each other.
the whole thing is a chess game between them to see whose philosophy wins. The witness's philosophy is that only one species will be able to rule the galaxy and be perfectly able to survive.
I smell a racist.
Kind of. But all these different. Basically, every single disciple here is a different species
Mhm.
that whose species was previously eradicated by the witness.
Okay, so when he destroys those species, he gets a new one of those.
Yeah, basically, he uses one of the species' main. Like, someone from there, they become a disciple, and then they destroy their species for him.
Okay.
This I'm not gonna give examples because there's too many of them, as you can see from the picture.
Yeah.
But the travelers thing is that it wants all species want to like coexist. So they've been like trying debating this for so long. Like every time there's a galaxy made, that's basically like them pulling out another chessboard. So they've done this over and over again with millions of galaxies. And every single time the witness has won.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's a tree that just kills you when you go near it and it curses you if you're close to it. This thing existed in the garden with these two. It has barely an explanation. All I know is if you smoke its leaves, you die. But
Now
basically,
I
this
know.
thing is on the same power level as these two things. It's just neutral. It just kills everything.
Uh-huh. Now I know. So does that mean that every galaxy that exists besides our own has one species ruling it then?
Yes. Well, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure,
because he
like,
won
once
every
the game
time.
is done, they just wipe the universe.
Okay.
Like you would wipe a chessboard.
Oh, okay. So there's only one galaxy at a time in this universe.
Maybe. It's complicated.
Okay, okay. I'll leave it ambiguous, but just the game's ended and that's that. So don't I'm sure Destiny hasn't reached this conclusion yet, but I mean like if I were writing an epic story, I think the way I would be going is that he won every time. I think Destiny must be the story of the Balls game. The Balls one game. That's my prediction.
That's what we're thinking as well, but we don't know. And I'll explain why we don't know at the end.
You got it. That's where I would think. That's just where I would naturally assume a story like this would go.
That's where you would think, but
But
they're doing some like
they
they've
could
been
pull it
hinting at something
apathetic.
else. They've been hinting at something else.
Oh,
Moving on.
okay. All right.
Let's get
Here we
to
go.
like the actual story. This really grainy picture is the last city. The last city where like humans are living. Well, as
Mhm.
of like me making this, they recently revealed that there's another city somewhere else that has all like this technology. That's what the next expansion is going to be. It's going to be a whole like heap of more lore and history of this human civilization on another planet.
Okay.
But for now, I'm just sticking to this because researching that would take too long.
Yes, cause powers of
Okay.
the
Tell Jeremiah I say hi.
Jeremiah, Matt says hi. Hey,
Now,
Matt says hi.
when
Matt says hi.
okay, so
Wow, that's rude.
when the traveler came to Earth, did all its terraforming stuff, and then one of the witnesses' disciples showed up, and they were about to destroy the planet. But then the traveler like repelled them with all of its like strength and energy, sent them to out of the galaxy, and then with its last bit of strength created these dudes. They're called ghosts. And what they went and did is revived a bunch of people, like brought them up from the dead, and gave
Mhm.
them, and they suddenly were immortal unless the ghost was killed.
Long shot.
Okay.
And were able to like do all these crazy sci-fi powers. Basically, they could control fundamental like rules of the universe.
Okay.
And basically, they went through this whole thing, and there were like it's classified in hunters, kind of nomad type people. Think of cowboys, but in space.
Okay.
Titans. These guys are basically soldiers. They protect the city, and will just they're just the foot soldiers. They're big, strong, have hammers and shotguns and punch things.
All right.
And then there's warlocks, who are basically wizards. They where hunters will use like the powers they have, they'll like infuse it into their weapons. Titans will infuse it into their bodies and maybe create constructs. Warlocks will use them and just create spells and constructs, and just they will try and do anything with it. They
Okay. They use it as a material.
Yeah, where these two like channel it through something, they just use it.
Freeform it. Okay.
Do I have another slide here? No. Let's get into the Dark Ages. Now, let me tell you,
Fuck!
this is where it kind of gets complicated.
How they have power?
All right, the Dark Ages were what immediately followed the Traveler saving the humanity, where their entire civilization was destroyed, and they had to figure out how to like pick up and live. And there were like these guardians kind of floating around and jumping around. Some of these guardians would like help and fend off the aliens that were like invading the planet.
I
Like
don't know if anyone else.
we'll get to those in a bit because they each have like their own history.
Okay.
But they would like protect, and some they went in like two different paths.
Whatever, they're gone devil.
Some would become like lords and become basically kings of small areas and just try and congregate power using their magic abilities and immortality. There were some good ones, like Lord Shax, we'll get to him, but there were a lot of bad ones. And to confront like the bad ones, these dudes came, and basically what they're called are Iron Lords. They were basically the first form of guardians that came to be. Basically, what they would do is use their powers to protect everybody and be sure that they're safe. They were hypocrites and assholes as well. Because basically, their conflict with the lords would end up getting people killed as well. But overall, they were just kind of nicer and more honorable.
Hmm.
They came across like an old ancient nanotech thing that basically became sentient and started lashing out and destroying a bunch of stuff, so they had to seal it away, and they blew all themselves up. So that's why there's only one dude in these images. He's the last one left.
Okay.
So after that, they let a bunch of guardians and humans all congregated underneath the Traveler and created the last city. And during that time, it was attacked by the Fallen, which is one of the first classes I'm going to explain to you, just so that to keep the humans unorganized. They were successfully like fended off thanks to the Guardians, and luckily the city is still standing. And its government system is basically run by Guardians now because the rest of it ran away.
Wait, okay,
For
it's just at
I
this
won't
point.
explain why. That'll get into a lot more complicated shit. Just know a lot of racism.
No, it's so.
Oh my god.
And it's basically run by 3 different vanguards: the Hunter Vanguard, the Titan Vanguard. This is Zavala. Zavala is the Titan Vanguard. This is Kadesic, the Hunter Vanguard, and Ikora Ray, the Warlock Vanguard. Zavala basically runs the whole city and the military, while Ikora does like CIA, other shit. She basically runs the knowledge ends of it.
Makes sense.
And Cade Six is dead.
Oh, I know.
Aw.
You can tell from this image that he's a cool dude, right? Yeah, he's dead. That's actually who he's being carried right here. This is an image of him being after he died. Here is Lord Shax. This was a good lord. He basically like protected his people, gave them food, was fair. He was basically your ideal lord. What he does, he was like at the battle that protected the city. He was like a major part. And what he does now is basically train guardians, and he runs it like the NFL.
I love how the other time.
So basically, he'll send guardians to fight each other, do these different tasks, and he runs it as like a sports announcer. He'll send them, okay, you guys fight these guys, capture this point. Whoever wins gets, and you get these guns. All right, break, and then he'll like commentate over it, and let like regular civilians watch. He turned training an army into a sporting event. And it's called The Crucible, and it is hilarious. Basically, basically it's like all the normal. It's the PvP mode in the game, and people in the city will root for their favorite guardian to win. Ikora Ray here is the reigning champion. She is undefeated in the Crucible. She's like retired because she's the Vanguard, but she's so powerful that she hit Shax, and even after being revived, he has a limp. That's basically like all the human side of it, except for one thing we'll get to later. Well, a few things we'll get to later. Let's talk about the different alien factions. And I'm telling you, this is where it gets complicated. Alright, we got the Hive, the Fallen, the Cabal, the Vex, the Taken, and the Scorn. You got all that?
Absorbed. I hit the wrong keybind.
Okay. We're starting with the Fallen. Now, the Fallen are basically space pirates. Like, the smaller groups are run by their captains, and, like, the lowest form is a Dreg, this dude. They all have servitors. The servitors feed them this thing called ether, which is basically like oxygen to them. Oxygen/food. The more they eat, the bigger they get. The mid rank is like a vandal. This is like a very common dude. And basically what they do is they basically pray to servitors because they pray to the traveler, and the servitor is like made in the traveler's image. Before the traveler came to Earth, it was at these dudes' home planet. And when it left, the darkness showed up, but a lot of them ran away before they could all be eradicated. So basically, the reason that they're fighting us is because they're jealous that their god is hanging out with some new hoes.
Okay, makes sense.
Alright. And these guys are fractured into different houses. Like these dudes, the House of Devils. In the first game, they found like that nanotechnology I mentioned earlier that killed all the lords. They basically grafted it to their bodies and gave them like a jump in power and weaponry. They're all dead. The nanotechnology and everything, and we killed them. So yeah, they are all dead. They don't exist anymore. Who does exist is Aramis, who is wielding a dark version of what the Traveler gave to us. She's basically like her house is is basically the main evil fallen house at the moment. And what they are able to do, like what they were able to do, they can't anymore, is manipulate ice crystals and freeze people. They can't do that anymore because they needed like a little crux to do that. The Guardians can now do that because they are so powerful. They were able to learn how to use it and are now able to use this dark ability. It's heavily debated whether or not we should be using it, but it's that we are able to use it now along with the light abilities we have. And the light abilities I forgot to mention are we got solar, which is just fire, void, which is controlling gravity into like to disintegrate people, and arc, which is just electricity. And so that's basically like the evil version of the Fallen. Then we actually are allied with some Fallen. This is the House of Light
Where's the?
And why do they team with us?
because they worship the Traveler and determine the best way to be a part of the Traveler is to be allied with the people that the Traveler protects. And they're very like peaceful, kind. Well, not peaceful, no. They're just basically allied with us, and they're very much for like better Fallen rights. Like how the Fallen ranking system works, it goes Dreg. They're not allowed to have their second set of arms, so they're ripped off. Vandal, they're allowed to regrow their arms, and they get access to more ether. Captains, which control like large groups of them, they get more ether. Then you get to like a Kel, which is what Aramis and this dude is. I forget his name. They are Kells, and they get access to the most ether, so they're the biggest. And then on top of that, they got their servitors that they pray to, and their prime servitors, which give them the most ether. And that's just basically the whole ranking. We got the light, the dark, and then we got this fat guy. The spider.
So why is do they have their own version of William Howard Taft? Please explain.
He is basically the Fallen's version of a mob boss.
Has he gotten stuck in a bathtub before?
He's stuck in that chair.
Ah.
He cannot get off that chair because his weight is so immense his legs can't lift him. What this dude is basically just lawful neutral.
Okay.
He's allied with us at the moment because he's hiding away from another enemy that we're also allied with. It's complicated.
Okay. How do you get so much ether to get that fat?
He ate things other than ether.
Okay.
He and he's also a Kel of his own group, so that's another reason. So this dude's neutral, and there's another faction that's also
Okay.
neutral that that's kind of just scattered around. So the Fallen have 4 factions. Just keep that in mind. The Fallen have 4 factions total. All right. Moving on to the Cabal. Now, the best way to describe this race Imagine the United States military was combined with Roman culture, and it's in space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The Cabal are just absolute conquering maniacs. Like, look at the size of this lad. And they got, like, huge tanks, guns, everything that you would think a Roman Empire with the space version of a American military would have. And they would just... They actually were able to conquer the last city for a minute before we came and killed their leader. Speaking of leaders, uh, originally, their leader was this guy, Emperor Callus. And he was basically, after his father was all about conquering, he was like, you know what, we have all this shit, let's have some laissez-faire, and I want to have gold and a fuck ton of wine. Callus made a mistake of upsetting this testicle guy, who, by taking off his testicles, and this guy was a scholar, and he decided to get revenge. He took on a child that he found and raised him to be the perfect warrior. And his name was Gaul, this bitch. This dude is the guy that conquered the last city for a minute until the traveler killed him. And what he did was, using the help of Callus's daughter, Keitel, he overthrew the emperor and basically became Caesar was to Rome. But because he's dead, well, no, and basically he couldn't kill him because he was so well liked, so he put him on this ship. This is a spaceship, by the way. It's eating a planet. I want you to guess what it's going to do with that planet.
Turn it into raw material.
Yes, but what raw material?
Iron.
No, wine.
Yes! Even better.
This ship eats planets and turns it into wine for this dude. That's his exile. And basically, it was set on a course to go to the end of the universe, and once it got there, it stopped. And Callus looked out onto the end of the universe and was like, you know what, the Witness is looking pretty cool. And then he came back and decided to become a disciple of the Witness. Anyway, the person ruling the Cabal right now is Keitel. She allied with us recently. So we are now allied with the majority of the Cabal. And she is sexually attracted to Zavala. That's not important. I just find it funny.
Noted.
Yeah. And then the Cabal aren't just one species. They're also these guys, Scions. The only reason I'm putting that there is because I had to put it in as a question. So just note that there are also a second alien species among the Cabal Empire.
Okay.
Alright. Now let's take a break and talk about the Awoken.
Are you guys want to hear a good joke?
The Awoken are basically humans that were trying to flee Earth when the darkness and the pyramids were attacking. But basically, they got caught between the darkness attacking and the Traveler shooting out its light, and that caused them to get blasted into a sub-dimension. And from there, how that dimension works is time moves extremely fast in that dimension. So they basically were there for millions of years. They've created such sophisticated technology. This is Queen Mara in the middle. She basically rules over the people that came to Earth, and she created all the Awoken based on like materials she like learned in the in that dimension. They were able to like create all this crazy shit, and then they came back to our dimension and established a little city there called the Dreaming City. And in that city, they had a giant dragon.
Why?
Because it grants wishes.
Dragon Ball.
This is Riven, the Ahamkara, and it just grants wishes. Moving on. Alright.
You're trying to play
Wine.
Hello?
Wine.
Wine. Exactly. Now let's talk about something weird. We're talking about the Scorn.
Yeah.
You see this, like, shadow up here? This is Aldrin Sov. He's basically, he's Morozov's brother. So he was basically prince of all the Awoken. Morozov died briefly. And while she was dead, Aldrin kind of went crazy, destroyed a bunch of Awoken stuff, and he created, he using Riven, he made a wish that he could create the Scorn. And basically, what he did was he revived a fallen Kel and brought him back to life. And so basically, all the Scorn are zombies
Pretty careful.
Mm-hmm.
that Aldrin and this Kel, his name is the Fanatic, brought back to life. They had to escape prison, and in doing so, they killed Cade 6. So that's why he's dead. And what is really funny, at the end of that campaign, we killed Aldrin, only for Aldrin to come back as a Guardian, and is now Zavala's bodyguard.
Okay.
This is the Fanatic here. The Fanatic has the ability to revive all the Scorn and Fallen to be his zombie army.
I just thought it was really cool.
And he loves his children. But because Aldrin died and the Fanatic has lost grip on them, this is another image of the Scorn. Callus decided, yes, zombie army, me take. So now he controls the Scorn. And he just has them on his ship, along with an army of Cabal clones that he controls.
What?
That ship, after he came back to Earth, he decided half the ship's resources will now be, instead of making wine, will be used to create a clone army.
Ah.
Alright,
Holy shit!
now let's take a break and talk about my favorite faction, the Vex.
Okay.
Basically, this is, on the surface, it just looks like a bunch of robots going around. That's not true. It's actually primordial milky ooze that's housed in their chest, controlling robot bodies. And what they do is that they just go around, kill everyone, and terraform planets in the hope of creating a perfect universe. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Basically, these guys, you know how the Witnesses' whole deal is that it wants one species ruling over the universe?
Yeah.
These guys are the main reason the Witness has won every game.
Is it the same species every game?
Because what they do is when they kill something, they'll pour their goop on it, and then that body, the organic matter, will dissolve and become more goop.
So the Witness, they have the same set of species every time they play?
They can't, yeah. It's
Okay.
it's butterfly effect. Some things will be made and changes, and sometimes species won't exist.
Okay. But these guys have spilled over and won him the majority of the game.
Yes.
Okay.
And basically, these guys, like, they found the Black Garden, and a small amount of them started praying to this thing called the Black Heart, which no one has made this connection. I am calling everyone out. No one has made this connection. The In the last expansion, the witness talked to the camera and was like, "Your pale," like he was like talking to the traveler, and he was like, "No more games. Your pale heart holds the key." In the very first campaign, we destroyed the Black Heart. That Black Heart was the witnesses, and the pale heart is the travelers. Fuck all of you. Anyway. So basically, they were praying to the Black Heart, and we had to fight and destroy them. But these things are so numerous that we have not gone close to destroying them. Like, we cannot destroy a single one of these because the goo will just fall on the ground and we can't do anything about it. And there are planets with whole oceans and rivers in our solar system of this goo. And what's even scarier, all these robots right here, these aren't soldiers. I want you to guess what these are.
That's just their average civilian.
No, those are construction workers.
Scary.
We have not even found their military yet. Alright. And now on to the next species. And I'm telling you, this is where it gets complicated. We're talking about the hive. Basically, the hive are just a bunch of like crustaceans that have a have a symbiotic relationship with a parasite. And the more they kill, the more the parasite feeds and lets them become more powerful and grow. Originally, the hive was ruled by 3 different daughters. We got Savathun, Xivu Arath, and Orxie. Or Orxa. I forget her name originally. I don't know. Her last name was Orxie, and she became a him because he's a transgender. Yeah,
This is the hive?
yeah. This is the hive,
Okay.
and basically, and this is just a more up close picture of the hive. They have like as they grow up, they become like they start out as like these little gugas. They just run around, slash at you. Then they become acolytes, which is this thing up here. Then they become knights, the knights are basically hulking brutes. They are huge, and they have like they're like adults honor system, and then the knights have an option to become like wizards, which just use hive magic to do basically anything. And the hive's religion completely revolves around killing. And I want you to guess their goal in the universe.
Are they like the flood? Is that their goal?
No. No, they are nothing
Oh.
like the Flood. Because the Flood is a hive mind. The hive is just a name. They don't actually share one mind.
Okay, so but their religion is killing, so their goal must be to conquer. They must be like, I'd say if like the last guy, the Vex won the Witness like 70% of his games, I think these guys are the rest, aren't they?
Yeah. I think that's right. But what's the species itself's goal?
To is it just a bloodthirst? Is it just to kill everything?
Yes.
That simply?
Yes. But why?
Is it to,
It's
prejudice?
It's to spread their love.
Oh,
They believe that violence is showing affection to someone, but also if something dies, it never had the right to live. So their whole deal is to spread violence in an act of love and kill anything that was never allowed to live in the universe. To basically purify it so that those they love with the violence can be free to commit more violence.
Aha.
Does that make sense?
They're clinically insane.
Right.
Okay.
And they pray to these giant space worm gods that are literally just worms that float around in space. We turned one of them into a gun.
Uh,
And they also have they also transmutate their young sometimes into these giant ogres.
uh, uh, uh.
Now, basically, and the three rulers are also considered gods because of how their tribute system works. Basically, they need to kill things in order to feed their parasite worm. So the lowest rank will just take enough to let their take enough energy to let their worm live, and then the energy will trickle up the system to these guys. So basically, these things don't have to kill, but there's still every second that their subordinates are killing, they're getting stronger. And Savathun is the god of cunning. Orcsy, I don't know, is the god of something else. It doesn't matter. That was not really the point of Orc's character. And Zivu Arath is the god of war.
Oh, he can reflect projectiles.
We're not going to talk about Zivu Arath because they haven't shown up in game yet, and we don't know much
Okay.
about them. But we're going to talk about the other two. Actually, before that, let me tell you about my favorite story from this thing. Basically, for the longest time, the Hive were just chilling on Earth's moon, biding their time to strike. Orcsy's son Crota was ruling the moon, watching Earth, getting ready for an invasion. And one day, a Titan went up and decided to take an investigation. And using his gun, the Rose, he killed so many Hive, and when it came out, changed. And it basically, a Hive wizard cursed him, cursed his gun to be, and slowly the gun transmutated and became a gun called the Thorn. And
Okay.
the gun corrupted his mind, and he left the city, stopped protecting people, and became basically an outlaw in the wastelands.
Batman.
No, not even close. Because
Okay.
he kills innocent people, just cause.
Oh, whereas Batman doesn't kill people who are an active threat to society.
Right. And basically, he would just go around massacring towns because he just flat out didn't care anymore. His ghost left
He's
him because of how
Hitler.
bad of a person he was, and his ghost
His
is
ghost dipped.
yeah, and
What?
his ghost canonically is still roaming around the universe.
His
So he
ghost is
can't.
up and fucking dipped.
Yeah.
That is fucking funny.
One day, here's an
I
image of
missed his
him
name.
before he was. This is the same guy. This is Dredgen Yor.
Okay.
This is an image of him when he was still a Titan.
Mhm.
But one day he massacred a city, and afterwards, a hunt went on for him. Basically, a old-fashioned cowboy hunt,
Okay.
and everyone except two people decided to leave because they gave up hope, except for one guardian and his normal human what do you call it? his like squire basically. He's like his apprentice or whatever.
Okay.
His, I forget what the guardian's name was, but his apprentice was Shin Malphur. And basically, when they find him, Dredgen Yor, without shooting the guardian's ghost, which is like how he gets revived, permanently kills him with one bullet of the thorn because it corrupted him and drained the light out of him.
Okay.
And like at that point, I mean, Dredgen Yor's ghost had been gone for a long time, and he told the apprentice like a time and place to meet for a finals duel, and the apprentice Shin Malphur looked at his his master's ghost, and normally you have to already be dead in order to like get a ghost and get the powers. This dude is so powerful, he didn't even have to die. The ghost was like, "All right, you do," and he gained all the like guardian powers, and went and did a Mexican standoff with Dredgen Yor, and fucking killed him with a gun called the Last Word.
I'm going to get real sick of being the old hero.
And and I'm telling you right now, he did it with a hip fire. Like he fan fired that bitch.
So it's just with his quick draw.
Yeah, he quick drawed him. And this
Alright.
dude is so powerful. He pioneered a technique called golden gunning, which is basically setting your gun on fire through like the guardian solar magic and shooting really powerful bullets that disintegrate anything it touches.
Okay.
And also, he has never died. Like, it's very common for guardians to get killed and die, but then the ghost revives them, and they also heal them. That's basically how respawning mechanic works lore-wise. This dude is so powerful, he has never died. So it's an actual debate whether or not he can be revived, because he never died in the first place to get his powers. And keep in mind, this dude's ghost is still out there. And after this guy died, a whole cult, like, spawned in his name, and they're literally just called Dredgen. And they make pseudo versions of the gun. Basically, there's only one Thorn, but they all make their own version of Thorn. And what they do is just shoot poison bullets. It's not as powerful as this, like, it won't just insta-kill Guardians, but it will just poison them.
Mm.
Anyway, moving back to the Hive. This is Savathun, aka Zack's Moth Mommy. She decided that she didn't like her worm. She didn't like having. Yeah, she didn't like having a parasite draining her life all the time anymore. So she decided to remove it, and in that process, she died. And she was like standing in front of the traveler, saying that she apologized for attacking it in the past, and she was part of like the initial like pyramid force that went to destroy Earth. And then she confessed that she began praying to the traveler or whatever. Like, she literally calls herself a supplicant in the cutscene. And because of that, the traveler sent her a ghost. You can see it right there. There's a ghost right there. And she got revived and became a guardian. Like, this is her ghost, and the ghost has a southern draw to it, which I love. But basically, she didn't ally with the humans because still, like, blah blah blah, mistrust or whatever. And we ended up, she tried stealing the Traveler and bringing her... Oh fuck, I didn't mention this. Oh yeah, by the way, these three gods can basically make their own pocket dimensions. I should probably mention that.
Oh, flashback SCP-106. That was all the ones I explained, I think, right? Old man?
Basically, they killed so many people. All those souls they can, like, do hive magic with and create a pocket dimension called a throne world. And unless you kill these... these gods in their throne world, they cannot die. Marasov also has one, which is why she was able to not die. But it's like a tiny throne world. So basically, Savathun, Orcsy, and Xivu Arath all have throne worlds. And that's the only place they can die. Savathun tried teleporting the Traveler to her throne world to keep the Traveler safe. But fearing that we might lose our powers if she did that, we stopped her and killed her. But her ghost got away, so she could be revived at any point. And she also decided to say, hey, to like her like subordinates, be like, yo, start worshipping the light, and now there's a bunch of hive guardians running around. Does that make sense?
You just unleash them upon, like, the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically they have all the same powers we do, but they're also hive. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, now let's talk about Orcsy. The fucking Taken King. My favorite villain in all of video games, who is also a transgender icon.
You can't hear it, I'm clapping. Let's go.
Orcsy has a son named Crota. That's the guy who is like ruling the moon. We killed Crota, like kind of early on. Orcsy got mad, and he came to Earth to fight us. And we had. And this is when we learned about all like the thing about all the hive religion and all the. We had to go and kill him in our world. Then we had to go into the throne world and kill him. This dude is just immaculately a badass. Look at the stance on this man. He killed a worm god and absorbed its power so that he could... Like, he killed this thing with a sword. He is literally a Greek legend.
Why is my screen purple? Oh,
Also, this is not important. I don't even care about talking about this girl. She's not even that important. She's like immensely important, but okay, I guess I'll talk about her. What's her name? Oh, Eris Morn. This is Eris Morn. She was in like the original assassination team that went to try and kill Crota. Crota killed everyone except her, but her ghost. This dude might be the most powerful being in the universe. Because he is able to control Taken as well through his own pseudoscience. And he's also able to do all sorts of stuff. His light power is so immensely powerful because he killed a bunch of guardians, took their ghost, and merged it with his ghost. So it's an open debate whether who's more powerful, Shin Malphur or the Drifter. The Drifter is actually scared of Shin Malphur because he doesn't know. And he made pretty much a gun that shoots shotguns. He made a pistol that shoots shotgun slugs that explode after they're in you for a while because he's scared of Shin Malphur.
it is a common gaming servant.
This dude is very flirtatious with the hive lady. I always forget her name. But he also used to date this lady, who was a guardian, who was one of the first Awoken that came to Earth. But the Nine decided, hey, we need an emissary. So they abducted her, tortured her, enslaved her mind, and brainwashed her to being a very powerful creature that bridges the gap between their world and ours. There's the 9. Let's talk about Braytech. This right here is the Warmind Rasputin, and its whole thing is to strategize war and control like planet-destroying weapons. but it's very refusing on doing that. And its prime directive is to protect humanity.
Fuck.
This is
Hello.
Clovis Bray. And this is also Clovis Bray. Clovis Bray was the CEO of Braytech, and his goal was to create crazy weapons and find immortality. And his decision on how to do that was to put human minds into robot bodies. He was successful in doing that, so exos are just basically now a thing. There's just robot people walking around very normally. But he died before. Basically, this is like his prime consciousness, and how exos work is every now and then to keep living, they need to erase their memories. So basically, this is like him with all of his memories intact. This dude is basically ran the Foundation version of Destiny. He would bring people in, run experiments on them, and then they just mysteriously die. This dude unlocked a portal and let the Vex in. He experimented on the Vex as though they were SCPs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he put himself into an exo so that he could be immortal. The only problem is this dude has Alzheimer's. And he's just chills in the last city making guns for the Guardians, not knowing who he is. His new name's Banshee44. But originally he was the CEO of Braytech and created this Warmind. And that nanotechnology from earlier. The thing that killed all the Iron Lords. This dude had two grandchildren. We had Anna Bray. No, what's her name? Elsa Bray? No. Yeah, no, this is Anna. Yeah, this is Anna Bray. She is a guardian that retraced her, like, past life, and when a guardian dies, it loses all its memories. I forgot to mention that. Like, on its first death.
Okay.
And the ghost doesn't have, like, the memory hard drive to give it back to the guardian. So they don't have their memories. Anna Bray retraced all her memories and figured out who she was. And she also has a adopted sister, Elizabeth Bray, but most people call her the Stranger. The Stranger was like the Stranger gets her own slide for a reason. That's because she's a time traveler. Basically, she goes through and relives the same timeline over and over because every single time the timeline goes through, it ends poorly. The Traveler leaves, Zavala loses a leg, he thunder crashes the moon and destroys it. Elizabeth witnesses it all, and the universe and the witness wins every time and is destroyed. And then Elizabeth, every time that happened, the Nine send her back in time to the point where Cade 6 becomes the Hunter Vanguard, and she has to, like, try and go through and make sure that dark future doesn't happen. Like, in this dark future, all the Guardians go dark, they go evil, they join the Witness. Savathun joins up with the Light.
They just called it a sequel.
The Cabal are allied with humanity. Basically, what I'm getting at, even with Elizabeth Bray here, she's done it many, many times, and it all leads back to the same road where it's ultimate destruction. And what we're looking at right now in the current Destiny timeline is we're going to that same destruction again. Like, nothing's changed. Alright, thank you. This has been my TED Talk. Do you get, like, a better idea of how I compare to SCP and Destiny now?
Yes. Because you see, I don't have to touch on everything when I explain SCP because it's a base thing.
And I also barely touched on most of this. This was a brief overview.
Single thing builds off the other thing.
Yeah. Everything builds off another in this.
So you had to go to step 1, reach step 2, 3, 4, 5. I have free form. I have like somewhat of a freedom of I could go through it. Whereas you have step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. In order to get to the ending point, you have to get through the beginning. If I wanted to present to you that information I presented to you in any other order, I could have. You could not have.
Yep.
Okay.
I have a question real quick, Nick. What was probably the most interesting part of it?
I like the premise of it. I like the fact that these guys have gone through this whole cycle 1,000 times with the same result, or like hundreds of thousands of times with the same result, and it just kind of like puts a little like question in what's so special about this story, and it kind of makes you want to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
No, wait, I'm not stupid. Oh, sorry. Who's the god of destiny? The traveler. Who's the devil? The witness. Who gives the guardians their powers? I mean, I want to say it's all the above because the ghosts come from the traveler, and then they must have some kind of physical strength themselves. I might have gotten tricked though. The Titan Vanguard, that's Shax, right? Hunter.
By the way, the crow is. Oh, I forgot to mention. The crow is Aldrin Sov as the guardian. That I forgot to mention that. That's his name.
Okay. But no, because he was the guy that was on the moon, right? No, so this must be Stage 6, hopefully. How many factions of the Fallen have? Lin. It's 4. Who do the most fallen prey? Who do the most fallen prey to?
Who do most of the fallen pray to?
Okay, the Fallen. They were the pirates. They didn't pray to the Black Heart. No. They prayed to the Traveler, right? Because they wanted it back, and they had different ways of going about getting it back. But Cabal? Fuck! There's 2 species in the Cabal, I remember that. I want to say they had 3 factions. Who currently rules the... It was, a woman. It was a woman. It was... Aramis! Who are the Awoken? They're humans who wanted to get away, right? Yes, okay. That must be it, because I remember them being humans. Who is the Amkara? That's the dragon. Who are the worm gods? I don't remember them, and you keep mentioning them. The zombies are the... No, the Hive are the killers. The Vex are these guys. The Fallen are the pirates. They must be the Cabal. Created the Scorn. Who are the Vex? They are the Milky. Their ultimate goal is to make a perfect universe. The Hive's goal is to spread their love through violence. The 3 Hive. Crota. Seventh wields the Hive magic. Orcsy is the Hive King because we're gonna make him. How long? Yeah. I got this. Draenor was the. Oh no, he was the one that died. So okay, no, we had the Titan. He's still alive. The Warlock's still alive. He was the Hunter. Has to be. No, the Warlock is the woman, right? Yes, she's the woman.
Those are the vanguard you're thinking of.
Fuck. So he must be Hive by default.
No.
What? Oh my god.
This was the like story I
Oh
was
wait,
telling you.
no. Okay. No. I remember who he was. It's just there was a lot of names. So he must have been on the. No, I think he was a hunter. Or no, he was a Titan. I'm so smart. What faction? is made of other factions whose will is controlled. The Taken. Who are the 9? Beings from an opposite dimension. Corvus Bray is a gunsmith with Alzheimer's. Can't be. Wait. Yes, she was, wasn't she? That was what she was.
Clovis is a man, and
Wait.
yes.
Fuck.
No, don't change your answer. I'll give you that. I could.
You remember who I'm thinking of, though.
Yes, you're right.
The lady
I'll tell you right now, you are right there.
Okay. Rasputin. I saw a picture of a giant head when you were explaining him.
I guess no. I'll tell you no. Rasputin was the background image. That's probably my bad for not explaining that better.
Oh, so he must be. That would be cool. That would be cool. The stranger is. The stranger did end up being a disciple of the witness, right? Let's figure out. Oh,
No. I have to grade it anyway manually. Let's go.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Let's just do this like on camera. All right.
I know I got 40. I know I got 40.
Hold on, wait. Let me do this real quick. Let me pull up a calculator to do this. You got the first one right. You got the second one right. You can scroll down.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just go. The Guardians.
You got the third one right. No. Zavala
Fuck.
is the Titan Vanguard.
The names is where I'm gonna crumble. Hunter Vanguard.
Is dead, so none.
Fuck. I knew he was dead, and I thought he was what's his name.
I tried hammering that home so hard that he was dead.
I know, but I thought that you still wanted to use his name.
All right, I'll give you 10 points for that one then.
I remember this one. I remember this.
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
That is
believe
also
this
correct.
true.
I'm surprised that you were able to piece that one together. Cabal do have 3 factions.
Okay, I did remember the species. I wasn't sure if I was
Yeah.
right about the faction.
Yeah, you got both those right.
Okay.
Who currently rules the Cabal? Aramis rules the Dark Fallen.
Can you tell that I'm more of a numbers guy?
Okay, for 5 more points, I'll let you do a second guess.
Okay. I know Gaul was there at one point. We'll go with it.
Gaul is dead. Gaul's the dude that Gaul is the dude that took over the city and got killed by the Traveler.
So he was in charge of them at one point for a very brief moment.
So was Callus. Keitel is
but
the
it
one
was
currently in charge.
But it was okay. Were the Awoken? I remember this one very distinctly.
Yep, you got that.
In this,
You got that.
the dragon,
Yep.
and then Scorn Zombies.
Also, by the way, I
zombies
forgot to
of,
mention this. A common meme in Destiny is that we turn the bosses and enemies we kill into guns. That's why in the Ahamkara thing, one of the options is a gun. The Scorn are zombies of the Fallen.
They are?
Yeah.
Wait. What?
It,
I swear.
Here, let me pull
No. Who created the Scorn? I swear.
it was Aldrin Sov.
Fuck. The Vex are Milky Ooze. I know that. I know that for a fucking fact.
They are Milky
They are not
Ooze.
the robots. They're not the robots. And they wanted to make a perfect universe, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's it. The highest goal was to spread their love.
Yes.
Yes. This one I'm not so confident
You
about.
got that.
Oh,
You
sorry.
got that. The
was
3
not-
gods are Orczy, Savathun, and Xivu Arath.
Yes. And Savathun does wield hive magic.
She wields
right?
the light. She's the one that died, and the Traveler revived her.
Okay, I was thinking of the guy on the moon. My bad. Orczy is the Hive King. I know this.
No, he is Hive. He is the Taken King.
This is racism. Titan?
Yes.
Okay. The Taken.
Yes.
And then the 9 are the beings from the opposite dimension.
Yes.
The gunsmith with Alzheimer's
Yes.
is not Okay, yes, that's him. Is he a war AI?
Yes, he is.
Oh, absolutely. And then the stranger, is he a disciple or not?
No.
Okay,
The
so
stranger
what is?
is a time traveler.
Give me my points and give me how many I could have gotten.
Okay, so you could have gone 560. You got 370.
160 out of 370?
560, 370.
370 out of 560 then.
Yeah.
I got 66. That means I passed though. That means I passed.
Yeah.
66 is passing. That's a pass. That means we're both passing students and passing teachers, and maybe I was a little confused about Destiny, but in the end of the day, it is that funny, isn't it? Because there are no orphans.
Yes. Now, we have learned something here today. It's a whole fuck ton more complicated to explain, well, summarize Destiny than it is SCP.
Yeah, it's way easier to just wrap that up in a little bow. Hooray!
Wow. Alright. Everyone like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy your day. Welcome to This Was
Yo.
Dumpin' Lord. Let us know if you want us to do more of this stuff with other
Yes.
franchises.